Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first story is titled, Overheard Salesman Say I Wasn't Going to Buy Anything, Made Sure to Have Manager Take My Sale. In the late 90s, I was able, with the help of a family member, to get a job working at Macy's Herald Square. For this job, I was allowed to wear jeans and tops of the brand I was working for as a specialist, otherwise it was business attire. On this particular day, I was there for orientation, and we were given a lunch break to which I went walking around. I was 18, and having family working there, I wanted to do my best to look the part. So, I called my mother, and she said, walk around, pick what you like, and when I get off work, I'll buy it. So, I go look at suits, got some fitted, no problem. Problem comes when I go to the shoe department. I'm looking at all the shoes, and I'm overwhelmed. Lots of very expensive shoes and sneakers and whatnot. I'm looking for someone to help me, but to no avail. I see a salesman and I ask him for help, and he ignores me. So a manager sees me and asked if I needed help. I said yes, I would like to see these shoes at my size. I tried them on and said thanks, I'll be by later. As I walk away, I hear the manager ask the salesman why he didn't help me, and he said I knew he wasn't going to buy anything. So I finished my lunch break and go about my day. Finished orientation and waited for my mother to arrive. We got the suits and were walking towards the shoe department. When this same guy walks up to my mother and says, "Hello, may I help you?" She's about to respond when I said, "No, we don't need your help. Bring me the manager who helped me before." My mom bought me 4 pairs of shoes. 2 being Coach because she had this obsession with the brand at the time. It came out to over $1,000 for shoes, and managers don't get commission. I asked the manager if he knew why I asked for him. He said, "Yes, I do." I told him I start working here tomorrow, so I'll make sure to come by and show you my shoes with the suit. He said, make sure to show him, the salesman, as well, since he missed out on the commission. The first story is titled, HOA Karen Pushed My Disabled Kid Into Her Pool. Calls 911 for trespassing on her property. Moving to a new neighborhood can be both an exciting and nerve-wracking experience. As a mother, I was looking forward to raising my son in a peaceful and safe community. Little did I know that the peacefulness would be short-lived, as we were about to cross paths with a neighbor who would change our lives forever. We had just moved into our new home, and my son, who is 9 years old and nonverbal, was eager to explore the backyard. He loved spending time outside and kicking a ball around, so I felt comfortable allowing him to play while I made dinner. That's when I met her, our next-door neighbor, the president of the HOA board. She was friendly at first, but when she learned that my son had autism, her attitude changed. She went on a tirade about how people like us shouldn't be allowed to live in the neighborhood, and she even tried to change the HOA rules to keep us out. As a mother, it broke my heart to see the way she treated my son, who was innocent and just wanted to play. He communicated through modified sign language, and I did my best to teach him to be independent, but it wasn't always easy. One day, while my son was playing in the backyard, he kicked his ball over the fence into our neighbor's yard. I was cooking dinner and couldn't keep an eye on him the entire time, but I trusted that he could take care of himself. However, when I went to check on him, I found him in our neighbor's backyard with her screaming at him and calling him a retard. Before I could even reach my son, our neighbor pushed him into her pool. My heart sank as I saw my son struggling to stay afloat, unable to swim properly. I ran to the pool and pulled him out, his head bleeding from hitting the edge of the pool. Karen, as she liked to be called, had already called the police, claiming that my son had trespassed on her property. The police arrived and I explained what had happened. Karen, however, continued to deny that she had pushed my son into the pool. The police officer could see that Karen was in the wrong, and he called for an ambulance to take my son to the hospital. Karen was arrested later on when the police discovered other illegal activities that she was involved in. Months later, we received an update that Karen was now facing multiple charges and had been removed from her position as HOA president. She had also been ordered to pay a hefty fine for violating safety regulations in her backyard, which included having sharp rocks lining the edges of the pool. It turns out that she had a history of harassing and discriminating against neighbors, not just us. However, the consequences for Karen's actions did not end there. In fact, the whole ordeal had left a lasting impact on my son. He became more reserved and hesitant around new people, and I could see that the traumatic experience had affected him deeply. We decided to seek therapy for him to help him cope with the trauma, and it was during one of these sessions that we discovered something shocking. Karen was actually a licensed therapist herself, and her license was now under review due to her actions towards my son. The news was both surprising and devastating. How could someone who was supposed to help people be so cruel to a child? It was clear that Karen had serious issues and that her punishment was well-deserved. Despite everything that had happened, my son and I were grateful for the support we received from other neighbors who were more accepting and empathetic towards us. We continued to keep an even closer eye on him, and we made sure to always stand up for ourselves when facing discrimination. The experience had taught us a valuable lesson about the importance of standing up for what is right and the power of community support. We realized that no one deserves to be treated the way Karen treated us, and that we needed to speak out against discrimination to make a difference. We also decided to get more involved in our local community and participate in events and activities that brought people together. We met other families with children with disabilities and found comfort in the shared experiences and support. As time went by, my son began to regain his confidence and trust in others, and I felt proud of the progress he was making. We had come a long way since that traumatic day, and I was grateful for the lessons we had learned along the way. However, the story did not end there. A few months after Karen's punishment was announced, we received news that she had taken her own life. It was a shocking and sad revelation, and we couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt and responsibility for her death. Despite everything that she had done to us, we couldn't help but feel a sense of empathy towards her. We realized that Karen was a troubled person who needed help, and we regretted not being able to offer her the support she needed. The news of Karen's death was a reminder that we should never underestimate the impact of our actions on others. It was a tragic end to a story that had already taken so many unexpected turns, and it left us with a mix of emotions. In the end, we learned that life can be unpredictable and that we should always strive to be kind and empathetic towards others, no matter how different they may seem. We also learned that the power of community support can make a difference, and that standing up against discrimination is crucial in creating a more inclusive and accepting society. Although the experience was traumatic, we emerged stronger and more united than ever before. We were grateful for the support we received from our community and for the lessons we learned along the way. We knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with strength, resilience, and a commitment to making the world a better place for everyone.
The next story is titled, Entitled Neighbor Threatens Dogs and I Break. Years ago, my mother and I had just moved to a new dog-friendly apartment complex. We had 2 dogs. One was a Bichon Shih Tzu, and the other is a Terrier-Poodle mix. Because of them, we were excited for the community dog park right next to our building. Also, to note, our whole building was filled with dog owners, each with dogs ranging from small to huge. Our apartment was on the first floor in the back of the building, all the way in the corner. It was a nice private area for us with how the apartments were situated. Since one of our dogs is a terrier, he can be a bit barky when we're not home. Though, when we are home, we have a clicker to get his attention, which he has been trained to stop barking and come to whoever has the clicker. Due to our work hours, I was usually home in the morning and Mom was home in the afternoon, leaving him alone for a few hours during the day. After a month of moving to our new apartment, we received a note on our door. It was from one of our neighbors. It stated, "Dear neighbor, I understand that you're new to this complex, but it is rude to allow your dog to bark. It is ruining my sleep before I go to work, and my job is extremely important. I don't care how you do it, but shut your dog up." My mom turned in the note right away to the leasing office as she wasn't sure what to do with it. That is when the office told us not to worry because he had done this to every dog owner in the building. They did ask us to see if we can find ways to calm him down when we were not home, so we did. We found out the kids of the neighborhood liked playing with the power station outside our apartment, and that is who he had been barking at. So we closed off that area for him when we went out and no one was home. We started playing calming music as a way to help as well. Another week goes by, and this time we hear a knock at the door. We go outside and we meet our angry neighbor. He explains that our dog has kept him up every day and woke him up with his hours of barking. Both of us had been home that day, and our dog had been a good boy and had not had excessive barking. I still remember what he had told us when I explained that. "I know what I heard. If you can't control your dog, then I am going to call animal control and have them both taken from you. I did it before and have no problem getting rid of your dogs too. Then I'll get you kicked out for not following your lease, and I can do that because I'm very rich and the apartment needs my money. So do something to shut your dogs up or else." After that, and my mom apologizing for what had happened, we went back in. A few moments later, I walked out to get the mail and discovered from another neighbor that he had gone to 3 other apartments and made similar threats. After some convincing, my mom told the apartment what had happened. We were told not to worry, and if he did that again, to please contact them. We also found out that the apartment had offered him an apartment away from the dogs, but he had declined since the dogs were the problem and not him. However, with what he had done, my mom began to show signs of anxiety and bought a lemon spray bark collar for our dog. While I didn't like this idea, it had put her at ease to go outside of our apartment. We did make sure to only put it on him when we both were not home. A month went by peacefully, then once again, we got a knock on our door. This time, it was animal control. They had gotten an anonymous report of a dog being abused and neglected in our home. They explained that someone has said that our dogs were barking because of neglect. My mom invited the AC lady inside and explained the situation. We showed her everything we could to prevent our dogs from being taken away. The nice lady noticed how playful and happy our dogs were and figured it was another false call. She explained that they had gotten a few of those from an anonymous concerned neighbor for other apartments in this building. The AC lady left, telling us that if they are threatening again, to try and get it on record. This event had turned my mom into a paranoid person who became afraid to leave the house, thinking that if she did, then she would lose her pups. Normally, I'm the calmest person in my family, never really letting anyone get to me, but this neighbor had done this to hurt us. So, I did my research and discovered a few things that could legally help us. With new information on certain laws and leasing terms, I formed a plan. During a weekend that my mom was visiting my aunt in a different state, I began my plan. I started it by printing out a few things and then sat outside with my phone and a speaker. I began to play a video of a dog barking really loud. I had figured out which apartment was his thanks to a few neighbors who were also tired of being harassed. I sat there looking across the courtyard to where his apartment was. I waited with a huge smile on my face, and as I hoped for, he stormed out and headed over to where I was. I turned off my video and turned on my recorder without him noticing. His face is red with anger as he looks at me sitting there with a smile. "I'm sorry, can I help you?" I ask him. "Duck you. I told you what I will do to your family if you didn't stop your dumb mutt from ruining my sleep. Now I'm going to get them taken from you and get you kicked out for not doing as I said. I gave you a ducking chance. I hope when they take your dogs that they are killed and you and your mom live inside a cardboard box." I give him a fake, "oh dear" look and say, "So you're saying that I am not allowed to make loud noises, including my dogs barking, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m.? And that I went against the law by doing so? You know you did. And you're telling me this from my porch at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This won't be your porch once I tell the leasing office." "Oh noes. That is a very serious threat for my dogs and my family, isn't it?" "Duck, yes it is." I give him a huge smile and turn off my recorder from my phone. The neighbor is confused now, and I ask him to have a seat. I have a few things to show him. I pull out my papers and hand him the first one. It was the county's noise ordinance laws. In our county, a dog's bark was considered the same amount of sound as a loud appliance, so they can bark between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. Before he could talk, I pull out another paper. This one states that it is against the leasing terms to threaten another neighbor, and after one warning that the apartment complex has the right to revolt their lease. He looks at me with an understanding of what he had done now. I silence him and pull out one last paper. This one was another leasing term I had found. This face, after reading this one, had made him turn white. This last one talked about how it was a complete violation of leasing terms to go onto another renter's property and threaten them or their property. This includes the renter's outdoor area. Those found guilty of this violation will have their lease revoked immediately and be forced to leave the apartment within a set time. The scared look on his face was priceless as I silently got up and walked back into my apartment. After he finally left, I called my leasing office and explained what had just happened and agreed to email the recording to them right away. A week later, my mom came home with some news that she had learned from the leasing office. The man had been evicted from his apartment and would be leaving later that week. I found out that my actions had caused the other dog owners of the building to come forward and admit what he had been doing to all of them. After that, there was never another complaint, and I threw away the lemon spray collar. My mom still gets anxiety attacks once in a while, but has been getting help to ease those worries. As for me, I don't regret what I did. I just feel bad that it had to come to this. The last story is titled, "My Pregnant Ex Keeps Trying to Move Into My Apartment." This is not my story, this is my friend's story that I'm posting for him because he doesn't have a Reddit and wants people to hear about this. Also, for convenience, I'm going to write this in first-person POV because pronouns are hard to keep up with. Everything here is approved by my friend. So, I, 21M, have an ex, Angelica, 20F. Angelica and I had an on and off relationship since we were about 15, but got serious when COVID hit, and I had to move back to my hometown. We got an apartment together, and very soon after, she started spending a lot of time with her cousin. Long story short, she's boning her cousin. We break up. We've been broken up 9 months at this point. For 7 of those months, her phone has been on my phone bill, and she owes me over $500. Fine, whatever. I'll never see that $500, and she always makes excuses to not pay me back. That's life, my own fault for letting her keep using me as a cash cow. She also took my car when we broke up, and I let her because I was too afraid she would try to take my apartment too. Anyway, it's 9 months past our breakup. I get a message. Hey, I'm pregnant. I'm on my way home from work, so I don't respond. That is 9 months past being my problem. It is not my baby. She messages me again. My boyfriend, the one she cheated on me with, and I have nowhere to stay. Still 9 months past my problem. Angelica has never worked a day in her life. She lives off the disability check from her boyfriend and spends it 99% on weed and fast food. She never paid rent and is documented to never pay rent. Anyway, she tells me, my name is still on the lease, we're going to move in September. I tell her, your name is not on the lease, it was renewed last month and I took your name off. I'm sorry. She messages me calling me an asshole and saying she's moving in because she has nowhere for her baby and 3 dogs to stay. Mind you, my apartment is more like a studio and barely fits me, let alone 2 other people and 3 dogs. I tell her it's not happening. I'm moving out of town soon anyway. Also, come pick up her crap that she's left at my apartment for 9 months. She says no, and if I throw it away, she's going to press charges. I tell her it doesn't matter because when I move, I'm throwing it away. She later called my landlord and told him I was planning to move out. I got upset at this and told her I ran the numbers on the car, it's still in my name. Get the car out of my name now or I'm repossessing it, or she can leave me the duck alone. She started bawling on a call asking how I could do this to her and her unborn child, and I was condemning her and her child to be homeless. She also still has a gun in my name that I told her to give back or I'm calling the cops. I'm really considering repossessing the car since it was mine from the start and is still in my name. She doesn't deserve to get a free car handed to her, she needs to wake up. She keeps saying she needs a place to stay, I'm ruining her and her baby's life. It's literally my apartment that she has never once paid rent on. I don't know how she thinks she's entitled to just live in my apartment with the guy she cheated on me with and 3 dogs. I hope the baby ends up okay. It's not its fault its mother is a spoiled brat, but I also hope being homeless and carless wakes her the duck up. Tiny update, my friend said his ex is coming to pick up her crap tomorrow and return the gun. If he gets shot, I'll let you guys know, I guess. Update, her and her boyfriend, fake cousin, came to his, my friend's, apartment, returned the gun, and picked up her crap. Her boyfriend then proceeded to wave his own gun around and demand to be put back on the lease. Not how that works. My friend called the cops, they booked it out of there before the cops arrived. I'm not sure about the rest. Final update, phone is not on the phone bill, her stuff is out of his apartment, his gun is returned, dog is in his possession, still no car. He said it's not worth it at this point. My friend asked for no charges, so I doubt anything will happen. He said he's cutting her out of his life, no contact. I'm personally upset about the car, but nothing to do about it now. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.